What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the World According to Briggs. My name is Briggs, and I make lists, I make food, I make all kinds of things. But lists is how I make my living, that and travel. Today's list was requested about 50 times after I did the cities with the most DUIs. People really want to know what state has the worst drivers. Sure, why not? It seems interesting enough, and who doesn't want to know if the state they're thinking about moving to is filled with a bunch of poor decision makers that drive? You know who I'm talking about. You see them on the interstate, they're driving, they're texting, they're speeding, and they're looking for the Starbucks cup they left on the roof of their car, which now sits on the on-ramp where it fell off. And then you have the DUI crowd. They are a whole different kind of dumb that we kind of talked about on that last video. Every state has them, there's no escaping them. It's just some states have more than their fair share of dumb drivers. And that's what we're looking at today. States that went back for seconds when it comes to dumb drivers. So pull off the road to the next rest stop and watch my top 10 states with the worst drivers. Number 10. Missouri. Ah yes, Missouri, the show me state. The only thing they're really showing anyone is that their driver's education program really hasn't been implemented by a solid portion of the general public. I'll give them one thing. They don't rank terrible in drunk driving. They rank 24th in the nation, which is middle of the road, obviously, just about. They do see 4.3 for every 1,000 drivers charged with a DUI. Where it gets bad is laws that fall under the failure to obey, which are things like speeding, no license, running red lights, no seat belts, things like that. They came in 11th in the nation. That's kind of high up there. It gets better though. Last year, 5 St. Louis County police officers were arrested on suspicion of drunk driving. Since then, they've all been cleared or they pleaded to a lesser offense. Now, I get that they're only human and they make mistakes, but is that really a good example they're setting for the general public? Luckily, they weren't on duty when this happened. Could you imagine a cop pulls you over, he walks up to your window, he's got a beer in his hand, he's obviously twisted. I mean, what's the protocol there? Do you just kind of look at him and slowly drive away and hope he forgets about it? I don't know. Anyway, there were 494 crashes, 186 injuries, 172 DWI arrests, and 14 deaths on Missouri roadways during the 2018 4th of July holiday. That's a lot. Auto insurance averages about $1,600 a year in Missouri. That's kind of high. Number 9. Texas. Texas has consistently ranked in the top 5 for the worst drivers in the nation since 2011. In 2016, Texas earned the ranking of number 1 for having the worst drivers of the nation. Drivers in the Lone Star State have actually made improvements to get themselves to the number 9 spot on the worst driver list. Almost off the top 10. You're doing great. They did okay when it comes to failure to obey. They came in 29th, which isn't terrible. But the careless driving type things like texting while driving, hitting parked cars while sober, looking at your ant farm while you're in traffic, well, they came in as the 4th worst in the nation. Now, recently in the news, lifelong Texan Albert Bigler, 95 years old, hasn't been able to drive legally since July, and he's not sure when he'll be able to do so again. To renew your license in Texas, the Texas Department of Public Safety requires Bigler to provide a birth certificate or a U.S. passport. He has neither. Bigler can't get it either because he doesn't remember where he was born. He was born somewhere west of Fort Worth, but because his delivery on July 18th, 1924 occurred in a house, no birth records exist. Maybe it's a good thing he's not on the road. Now, work zones are extremely dangerous in Texas. There were 27,000 car accidents in Texas work zones, resulting in 813 injuries and 199 deaths in 2017. That's a lot. The average price for auto insurance for a complete year in Texas is almost $1,700 a year. Number 8, Tennessee. Tennessee earned the 8th spot for the worst drivers in the United States. Only 80% of the volunteer state drivers are insured. That's the 5th lowest rate in the country. In case you didn't know, it is required by law to have vehicle insurance in the volunteer state, just like every other state. Their average insurance cost is about $1,700 a year. The state also sees 3.63 DUIs per every 1,000 drivers. It is also the 9th highest state for Googling driving-related tickets. That's according to Google Trends. It also leads the country in searches for what is the clap. I'm not even kidding. It doesn't stop with automobiles in Tennessee. This gentleman got his horse involved. Hamilton County Sheriff deputies arrested John Arnold in Tennessee after receiving several reports on the night of September 5th that an intoxicated person was on a horse. That's according to the local Fox affiliate. And guess what? He was intoxicated and he was on a horse. Luckily, he had his clothes on. Number 7, Alaska. Alaska isn't a great place for drivers. This state has 5.8 DUI incidents per 1,000 drivers every single year. That's the 5th most in the country, and there's about 1.6 fatalities per per every 100 million vehicle miles driven in Alaska. It's the fourth highest rate in the country. On the other side of the coin, the state has the third lowest rate for searches for traffic-related tickets. So that's good news. They're not too concerned about their bad driving. Icy roads and moose come into play far too often in the state. People actually sign up for moose roadkill meat every single year. I'm not kidding about that. They actually put you on a list, and when they, get a moose, it gets hit, gets killed, they actually, harvest it or whatever they call that. And then they call people on the list to come pick up their moose meat. They won't give it to the person that actually hit the moose in fear that it would encourage people to buy junker cars and try and hit them on the highway so they can have moose meat. 84.3% of the drivers in Alaska, which is also known as the last frontier, are insured. Alaska has jumped up on the bad driver stats since 2015. The Alaska Department of Transportation partly blames the $60 million in budget cuts for the increased traffic deaths, which greatly decreased the manpower for road work and snow removal across the state. So it's pretty bad. Number 6, Arizona. Arizona is next on our list of driver's shame. And that's because Arizona has an insurance rate of 82%. That means 82 people out of every 100 have car insurance. That's not good. Arizona also has 4.8 DUI incidents per every 1,000 drivers, and 1.6 people get killed per year for every 100 miles driven. That's not good at all. In terms of searching for driving-related tickets, Arizona ranks 14th highest. Arizona leads the country in vehicles that should not be on the highway. They impound more non-roadworthy vehicles per capita than any other state. I guess when you're retired and on a fixed income, you don't want to be shelling out money for tires on your 1989 Chrysler LeBaron. Probably you don't look at it as a good investment. Here's some good news. They average $1,300 a year in car insurance, which is kind of low compared to the other ones on this list so far. Number 5, Nevada. Nevada is the next state filled to the brim with bonehead drivers. Insured drivers make up only 86% of all the drivers in the state, which is a higher percentage than 28 other states. Nevada, as you can imagine, kind of knocks it out of the park when it comes to DUIs. There's about 5 DUI arrests per 1,000 drivers every single year, the 13th most in the country. That's sort of a no-brainer. You probably saw that one coming. Most of the population and tourists are in Vegas, and people aren't heading to Sin City for Bible study. Am I right or am I right? I'm right. Nevada also has the highest rate of searches for traffic-related tickets according to Google Trends. They also lead the country in searches for tattoo removals and where can I get the world's largest margarita. Number 4, Florida. Buckle up, this next one's alarming. Just 73.3% of the residents in the Sunshine State have auto insurance, the lowest rate in the nation. That means more than a quarter of the residents have decided to ignore the law because they're either broke or just dumb. The DUI rate is the 8th lowest in the country with 2.17 incidents per 1,000 drivers, so that's good. Florida has the 11th highest rate of searches for traffic-related tickets, which isn't good. I mean, if you're looking for that, that means you got some problems. They also lead the country in searches for what insurance company does that lizard work for, which is Geico. I thought that was interesting. Florida has 1.5 highway fatalities for every 100 million miles driven every single year. It's not a good number. The average car insurance rate in Florida is about $1,800 a year, about 30% higher than the US average. Maybe that's why they're not paying their auto insurance. It's too damn high. Number 3, California. California comes in next. The Golden State has the 6th highest rate of searches for speeding and traffic tickets. They also lead the country in searches for is Starbucks open on Christmas? Will Canada let me move there? And how to spot a narcissist. I'm not even kidding. Seeing that I just said the word California, we'll pause here for those of you that need to make that comment about a liberal cesspool and human crap with hypodermic needles on the streets comment. We get them every time California is mentioned. So we'll watch this video while you type away.
We need to talk. We need to talk. We need to talk. We need to talk.
California also has the 12th lowest percentage of insured drivers with 82%. The risk of getting in an accident with an uninsured driver may be something you need to discuss with a financial advisor in California. There are almost 5 DUIs per 1,000 drivers and about 1.13 fatalities for every 100 million miles driven in California. California also leads the country in drivers last seen running from a car accident. Number 2, Alabama. Another southern state has made the list, Alabama. In case you don't know, Tennessee is a southern state. For those of you in the South that just scream "no kidding" at your computer and probably spit something out, keep in mind most people in this country think the South only consists of Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Georgia, Florida, and South Carolina. They, for some reason, don't understand that Texas is sometimes, and North Carolina and Arkansas are all part of the South. It's really weird. I know geography, I get it. A lot of people don't. Anyway, Alabama has the 6th lowest percentage in the nation for insured drivers, with just 81.6% of the drivers actually pay for auto insurance. There are 1.8 DUI incidents for every 1,000 drivers, which is actually the 6th lowest for this metric in the country. That's pretty good. But there's still 1.5 fatalities per every 100 million vehicle miles driven. And that's the 6th highest rate overall in the country. They also lead the country in running into trees. That's weird. I mean, they got a lot of trees there in Alabama, but it's not like they're known for trees, but people are known for running into trees there and hitting deer, apparently. And number 1, Mississippi. And for I don't know how many times, Mississippi takes its rightful position as the king of suck with the worst drivers in the country. Just 76.3% of the drivers in the Magnolia State are insured. That's the 2nd lowest rate in the country. Mississippi has the 6th highest search volume in the country for driving related ticket issues per Google Trends. And also they lead the country in searches for what if my second cousin looks hot in a sundress. As far as fatalities go, Mississippi has 1.69 people die per every 100 million miles driven. That might be a good enough reason to buy a life insurance policy to cover your mortgage so your family doesn't lose the house you just bought when you moved to the Magnolia State. On the bright side, there are 3.72 DUI incidents per 1,000 drivers. That's the 21st fewest in the nation. That one's not bad. The other things are pretty bad there. They also are pretty high on non-roadworthy vehicles also. They came in 3rd. Alright, so that's my top 10 worst driving states in the country. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. This one was requested by a lot of people, so I thought I'd put it up there. But yeah, like I said, hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget all the links below. Hit that like button. Leave me a comment. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Everybody have a great day. Be nice to each other. Drive safe.